Well, happy Memorial Day, everyone. We certainly respect and honor this day for sure. And we're going to do a show today because we got a lot to say and hope everyone's enjoying their holiday. But the Phil Simms, Chris Simms show.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good information that comes from this. So before we play the clips and the Simms is talking about the Broncos quarterback situation and Bo Nix, etc., let's set this up for the viewing audience, Mace, about how this came about.
Okay, well, Chris Simms hosts a show called On Button through NBC. And, Phil Simms, of course, no longer works for CBS. They moved on from him on NFL Today early this offseason. So now he's a free agent, which means he can just pop on wherever, including on his son Chris Simms' show. So you got a couple of quarterbacks talking about the quarterback position, and Phil Simms in particular knows Sean Payton really well. There's obviously covering the league all these years, and Sean Payton, a former Giants assistant, not while Phil Simms was there, but Phil Simms, a longtime Giants quarterback. So Phil's got a really good idea what Sean Payton's looking for, and it was Phil also who was, talking about the potential poor match of Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, and it devolved. So that's why, and I know Phil Simms is a name that gets a lot of Broncos country riled up because they thought that he was biased against him in his commentating. Respectfully, I think people confuse criticism with, we got a negative bias. No, it's, Phil Simms liked Peyton Manning very much. I'll also say that. So
he did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's, that's why I listen. I think of that and I think, okay, I don't buy. I don't buy the anti-Bronco bias there.
He's departed now, so I don't like speaking ill of the departed. But Todd Blackledge did have a bias against the Broncos when he.
What do you mean, Todd Blackledge? Todd Blackledge is still with us.
Or who's the former Raider? That commentated on Broncos games. He would cheer when Elway would get sacked.
John Madden.
And it wasn't Madden. No. It was someone. It's not Todd Blackledge. I'll think of it anyway.
Ken Stabler.
No. I'll think of it. Just give me a moment. Let's give it a moment.
I'm sorry. I'm just going down the list here.
I'd remember Matt Millen because I made fun of him at the 2007 Shrine game in front of him. I didn't know he was next to me. Anyway, so
yeah, wait. Before we go on, what did you say?
I'm Matt Millen. I'm a clown. Do. He was standing on the other side. I was sitting there.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I was chatting on the sidelines. And I didn't know Millen had a bomber jacket and like a ball cap on. And I was just super excited. It was my very first Shrine game. And so, it was not a great moment when he walked past me and gave me like a death stare.
You realize that you did what most of the state of Michigan would like to do and say to Matt Millen, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think it was talking about Jacoby Jones too, because I watched Matt Millen take another receiver. Although Jacoby turned out real good.
Broncos country probably doesn't want to be reminded of Jacoby Jones.
No. So let's move on from that and talk about the match. You brought up the match. So let's talk about the match here because Simms on the match with Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Very insightful right here.
Well, first off, the personalities are going to match.
Right.
I mean, Bo Nix, his father's a coach. I think he won a state championship down in Alabama this year. So he's the man. So right away, that just tells you kind of who Bo Nix is going to be. Then if you watched him play, he's another one. I watched him during the season. I liked him. I said he looks bigger than 6'2". Yeah. I don't know what it is. He's long-legged.
Yeah.
He's got great size. I think he's very mobile. I think he didn't get the credit he deserved there. And, his arm strength. And is it elite? No. But he does make a lot of power throws every single game.
He was another one I would say towards the last week you kept calling me going, man, this Bo Nix, I don't know why anybody wouldn't like him. He makes one great throw, one great decision after another. And there's plenty of power throws on the
Yeah, there is.
I like that because the power throw footwork is correct.
Power throws and they're down the seam. That's another thing. That wasn't mentioned, but when you watch it, you watch Bo Nix at Oregon and you're seeing those throws down the seam. And what do you want to add to this offense, right? Down the middle, down the seam, inside the numbers, not operating outside the numbers. Thursday, what did we see a lot of? We saw a lot of plays inside the numbers. Seam, of course, hash marked to numbers, and then in the middle between the hash marks. This is starting to get somewhere, and it's alignment, right? It's Broncos have been misaligned, coach, GM, quarterback, scheme. Everything feels like it's in perfect alignment right now. Quarterback matching up with the scheme installed by an offensive-minded coach, and the GM doing his part to get all the intel, get all the pieces, read the draft board to where they got the guy they wanted.
While not being a yes man, I don't want to derail the conversation. One, it's abbreviated show here on a Monday, but like, I like the way that George kept, his opinions without just being like, everything, Sean? What do you want, Sean? Like, no, they had some back and forth.
Yeah.
The growth of their relationship has probably made me the most happy this offseason.
Remember, George Payton watched Bo Nix work in person before Sean Payton did.
Mm-hmm.
George Payton did go check out Bo Nix at Oregon. So the thing you get here is you feel like they got alignment on a prospect, and the most important prospect in the most important position. That, maybe Sean Payton in his dream of dreams could have found a way to move up and get Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. But here's somebody they really liked that they didn't have to move up for. Probably got a little nervous after Michael Penix Jr. went off the board. And maybe even and thought about moving down for if Penix had not gone off the board. That was another thing. I mean, they did, there were conversations that were had, and then Penix going 8 to the Falcons changed all that, changed that dynamic. And as we have dove into in the last few weeks, he maybe wouldn't have gotten past the Raiders, and he definitely wouldn't have gotten past the Rams. Yep. So you had to take him.
You had to be careful. And don't worry about the age, something that Phil Simms talked about when it comes to Bo Nix being a little bit older.
Well, he's old. God, that's another thing that irks my ass.
Yeah, I don't know. Who cares?
He's going to be 25. So what? Yeah. They act like they got to get these guys. Are going to keep him for 20 years.
I know. It's a 4-year rental. Let's see where it goes from there.
Hopefully they can get 4 years
Exactly
in.
Right.
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, the short thing. The way Phil Simms says irks my ass.
It irks my ass.
Oh, my God. Like that should be a drop. We might have to make that a drop on this show. Like, he kind of draws out ass. Like
ass.
It says it in such an old school way. Second of all, though, 4-year rental. And that's, look, part of the reason why we talked about with Peyton Manning yesterday's show, experience, best teacher, get him out there right away. But the other thing is the clock is ticking on that rookie deal the moment they walk in. It's one of the reasons why Atlanta taking Michael Penix Jr. was so curious, because this year is going to be a Kirk Cousins year, and perhaps next year is too. So you're burning off a couple of years of that 4-year plus 5th-year option, that cost-controlled window. The other thing is, if it doesn't work out for Bo Nix, I mean, if it's 4 years, it doesn't work out, then you go on to the next person. And look, as far as the experience being the teacher, let's if it goes badly, if you start Bo Nix in 2024 and it goes badly and the team fares badly, then you do the Josh Rosen, Kyler Murray thing. You take next year, you go fish again.
Let's get your fishing pole.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, it's the clock starts ticking the moment they walk in, right? Ideally, Bo Nix develops and does well. He's your quarterback. He solves the problems. But the cost-controlled window, like the early window, it's time. If you're not talking about an elite level quarterback, and I mean, when I mean elite, I'm talking about all time elite. Like, I'm talking about Peyton Manning. I'm talking about Tom Brady. I'm talking about Patrick Mahomes. Okay. These quarterbacks have won beyond the cost control window, have won championships. Okay. Philadelphia, they won with Carson Wentz and Nick Foles as the backup. Carson Wentz was in the cost control window. Seattle won with Russell Wilson in the cost controlled window. Baltimore won with Joe Flacco in the cost controlled window. So if you're not talking about God tier quarterbacks, if you're talking about a quarterback who's just pretty good, what's the potential best time to win? It's when they're on cost control in those 4 years that was referred to by the Simpsons.
Yeah, it irks my ass. Maybe he's the ass man. Get him a license plate.
Like on Seinfeld?
Of course.
Yeah. But he's not a proctologist. The whole thing was it's a perfect license plate for a proctologist.
Maybe it felt like that when he called Broncos games.
Yeah, 1,000,000 shot, Doc. 1,000,000.
By the way, it was Todd Christensen.
Oh, yes.
He would cheer when Elway got sacked.
Yes, I remember him, the late Todd Christensen.
Yes. So, again, there's sometimes some bias.
Yes. That's interesting. I'd have to go back and watch some of the clips. I'm sure there's some Todd Christensen games out there on YouTube.
Sure. Yeah.
Calling
go
Broncos
back and watch
games.
it. Although watching football when it's not in HD is so painful on the eyes. I got a collection from 1992 till now of every NFL regular season game, and it's awful before like 2010.
There's actually somebody who's going out there and he's posting old games on YouTube, but like restoring it. It's obviously not HD, but it looks better. And there are some Broncos games out there. Actually, one of the games that he restored was Broncos Seahawks 1979, which, along with the Broncos comeback in San Diego in 2012, greatest single game comebacks in Broncos history, down 24 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do this. We got one more clip to play, and then let's get out of here for today on a holiday. Sims talking about who's the quarterback of this Broncos offense.
I think it's the perfect mix.
Yeah.
Right? Between the things you're saying and what Sean likes out of a quarterback.
Well, Sean's the quarterback, right? Sean's the quarterback.
Yeah.
You and I know that, and anybody, he's the quarterback. This is what I would do. I'm designing this play because I could run this. And, you know, I looked at some of his film when he played it over in Europe.
Yeah, we say it all the time. You weren't that good. Don't try to get quarterbacks like yourself.
But damn, you know, and it is true. I always think this too. He's looking for Drew Brees.
Yes,
you know,
sure.
Or he was looking for Patrick Mahomes, but he blew that.
Yeah.
So that's another story.
Yeah, he did.
But, yeah, so Bo Nix, I think he's going to adapt to the NFL really fast.
Yep.
He had different offenses at all stops of his career.
I love that.
Yeah. He's looking for the mental extension of himself on the field. That's what he's looking for.
I love you weren't that good, buddy.
Hey, did we not a few weeks ago, you and I watched some of the Sean Payton playing experience when he was with the Chicago Bears on their strike team back in 1987, came in the second half.
You and I watched
of the
that.
game.
I want to talk to Sean about it.
Behind Mike Cohensey. I think Mike Cohensey became a longtime Arena Football League coach. And it was in Philadelphia in front of about 4,000 people because the Eagles players very, very strongly picketed that game. And, you know, people didn't go in, but yep, it was, let's look at Sean Payton in that game. Like, I think like the first play he was out there, he took off and he ran for like 25 yards, right?
Was the second play.
Second play.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yep. Sean Payton in that game against Philadelphia, 5 of 11 for 51 yards, 4 carries for 24 yards, including a 20-yard run. Or no, my bad. Sorry. He was sacked 4 times for 24 yards, 1 carry for 28 yards. So think about this. Sean Payton, in his first game in the NFL, he had 15 pass plays, and 4 of them ended in sacks. Okay. Overall, Sean Payton, 30 pass plays, 7 sacks. That's a terrible sack rate.
I bet if he was running his offense, he would have had better stats. That's why he designed his offense. That's why I want to talk to Sean about this.
And we see looking for a quarterback that has some attributes that he recognizes.
Mm-hmm.
Say, I designed this to fix the glitch.
Because
I running the strike offense under Mike Ditka.
Yep.
Ooh. Yeah, that's
spicy.
That's oh man, like I have to I gotta throw that. That would be awesome to do, to sit down and watch Sean Payton, because his mind's like a steel trap and he would probably like be rattling off stuff, from that game. Although I say it's like a steel trap, but when he was feeling under the weather this week, you could tell because he misidentified the New Orleans Saints quarterback competition of 2021, saying Teddy Bridgewater rather than Jameis Winston.
He also misidentified who we are because we know who Lucas Kroll is. We didn't have to look at who's the 85. Like, no.
I know damn well who Lucas Kroll is.
We appreciate each and every one of you out there for jumping on board with the show. The growth of the channel has been fantastic. We're pushing towards 12,000 subscribers. And we thank you. About 50% of our viewers don't subscribe. So make sure you help us out there. But Mace, it's a blessing on this holiday. A very important holiday, of course, because some give all. And we can't do it without our men and women, our armed forces, and those people that have made the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah.
We definitely honor them today.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yep. Because we're sitting here with the ability to be a couple of chuckleheads talking about football because they were, on battlefields far and wide. People made the ultimate sacrifice.
Right.
There's not a day that I'm not grateful for that.
For sure. He is Andrew Mason. I am Cecil Lammey. Make sure to do the YouTube things, Mace. What are they?
Like,
comment,
share,
subscribe,
hit that notification bell
so that you never miss a vid. That's right. He's Mace. I'm Cease. OBT is a BFD. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty?